Unlike many people today, I'm an optimist. This strange condition began when I was 15 years old. That was 1996. I discovered that the future of human knowledge is on the World Web, and all my textbooks were out of date. So I told my teachers I want to quit school and start my education on the World Web. Surprisingly, all my teachers agreed with it. So right afterward, I co-founded a few web startups, and I get to join this fabulous internet community that runs with this crazy idea, an open, multi-stakeholder political system that powers the internet still today. Today, as Taiwan's first digital minister, I'm putting into practice the lessons that I learned when I was 15 years old. That's civic participation, radical transparency, and rough consensus. Surprisingly, it's working and is transforming our society. Now, in the spirit of participation, I would like to invite you to scan this QR code. Once you scan the QR code, you get into this Slido system where you can anonymously ask me any question. If the QR code scanner isn't quite working for you, you can also manually enter this website address slido.com, slido.com, and once you're in the website, enter today's date as shown here. So either way, through QR code or through the website, you will get into this system where you can also like each other's questions. And I commit myself at the end of this talk to start answering all the questions that has the most number of likes. First, I would like to show you my office, the Social Innovation Lab, co-created by hundreds of social innovators. The soccer field here, for example, is a contribution from people with Down syndrome, with a unique geometric vision of the world. Now, every Wednesday, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. is my office hour. Everybody can come and talk to me, including social workers, rough sleepers, as long as they agree to have their transcript published online. In addition to human visitors, we also welcome AI visitors, such as the self-driving vehicles here from the MIT Media Lab. They're open hardware and open source, so a local community can freely tinker those tricycles according to our local needs. For example, my favorite flower market is just across the street. As I pick up flowers, those tricycles can follow me and form a fleet, so I can hop on one and they can carry me home. As you can see, the tricycles now has two eyes. They make eye contact and they can blink at you. So to me, AI stands for assistive intelligence, and they can co-evolve with our collective intelligence for the social benefit of our communities. And 2 years ago, our President Tsai Ing-wen said an inspiring statement in her inauguration speech. She said, "Before, democracy was a clash between two opposing values. But now, democracy must become a conversation between many different values." Indeed, in conventional thinking, social benefits and business profits, for example, are opposite forces and often contradict each other, forcing the government to make trade-offs. However, the idea of social innovation brings a brand new way of thinking. For people working on social innovation, the core objective may be achieved by developing business models to address social and environmental issues, and the government's role has changed. Instead of being the arbiter torn between different sides, we're now asking a different set of questions. We would ask, what are our common values despite different positions? And we would ask, given the common values, can we find solutions that works for everyone? Indeed, in the past couple years, Taiwan has been consistently ranked the top country internationally on open data, on internet participation, on women's digital access, digital inclusivity, and is ranked one of the top 4 super innovators by the World Economic Forum. To encourage social innovation, we invite everyone to challenge or to fork in existing laws and regulations through the sandbox system. Any innovator can ask for an experiment for 1 year on platform economy, fintech, self-driving vehicles, 5G telecommunication, and so on to prove that their new rules work better for everybody involved. If the society after a year feel it's a good idea, we adopt the amendment as a new regulation. If it's not considered a good idea, then the entire society learns something from it. We can establish new norms. So with autonomous vehicle, Taiwan is the first jurisdiction to legally encourage experiments of hybrid land, sea, and air modalities. It all needs to correspond to a local need of transportation. For example, our remote islanders can really benefit from drone delivery and self-driving ships. And finally, if the MPs need time to make a new law, if it has to go back to the parliament, then the innovator can continue to operate to serve the people's social needs for up to 4 years, essentially a local monopoly. After the new law passes, of course, other providers will enter the area. To discover the common vision in each community, I personally tour around Taiwan to all the rural, indigenous, and remote islands and other places to talk with local social innovators. And all the social innovation labs in Taiwan can join through teleconference. So wherever I visit, the public servants in 12 ministries involved always meet at the lab, and they can see through my eyes, and the local people there can also see them. Because it's truly multi-stakeholder, anything that gets asked by any innovators here usually is a purview of multiple ministries. And now because those ministries are literally sitting next to each other, it's impossible for them to say, oh, I have to consult with the Ministry of Interior because they're sitting right next to them. So we almost always find out a way and brainstorm a way to interpret existing regulations or to enter the sandbox system, and we have demo fields for people in other places in Taiwan to experiment those sandbox experiments firsthand. Starting this March, anyone can see those, for example, self-driving vehicles running around in the Shalun Smart Green Energy Science City, so that people can see how they react to real-world situations and share how they feel about it. To listen to people's feelings, we often make an interactive survey with Polis to ask about how they feel about, for example, autonomous driving. Instead of a pre-written poll, citizens can contribute their own policy suggestions in a multi-week conversation moderated by AI. We chose the focused conversation method, invented in Canada, or the ORID for short, that involves 4 stages. The first stage is facts, where we collect evidences, first-hand experiences, and objective data. And then after that is confirmed, we move to collect everybody's feelings about the same facts. You may feel angry, I may feel happy, it's all okay. And after people converge on their feelings that resonates with everybody, we then talk about ideas. The best ideas are the ones that address the most people's feelings. And then finally, we translate them into legalese and sign them into decisions. The Polis system, which is an open-source AI system, shows each group how their shared sentiments are received by other groups. And the interesting thing is, it lowers people's antagonism. Because you see all these people on different sides, they're your Facebook and Twitter friends. You just maybe didn't talk about some issue over dinner. And instead of distracting with polarizing views, we do attract consensus. After we get a set of feelings that resonates with practically everybody, it's now much easier for the government to meet with all the stakeholders and check with them one by one. By collaborating with the civic sector, we're building a robust environment suitable for social entrepreneurship to grow, where the power of civil society could be brought into full play. In fact, Taiwan is home to one of the world's largest civic tech communities, GovZero, which started in 2012. At the beginning, it's just a domain name, G0v.tw. Whenever the civic tech community sees anything that the government does as something that gov.tw and they want to do better in a more open, more collaborative way, they can just tell people to change the website from something that gov.tw from the O to a 0, and you get into the shadow government, something that g0v.tw. In the last 6 years, the GovZero community created alternatives, or forks, for more than 100 public services. because all of them is open source. If citizens think it's a good idea, then again, in the next procurement cycle, the government would just merge it back. For example, the inaugural project of GovZero was budget.g0v.tw that shows the national budget that used to be hundreds of pages of PDF files in a way that is interactive, that is fun, and also understandable. So people can drill down to exactly the part of the budget that they care about and start a real-time conversation around that particular budget item and the spending and procurement around it. And so today, it's been merged back. In the government website, join.gov.tw, you can see all the hundreds of ministries' projects, all their KPIs, their procurements, and anything that you make a public commentary will be met with real-time response from the career public servants. To take another example, you can see this GovZero Air Pollution Observation Network. The project links the simple air quality sensors, AirBox, which is becoming very popular, and applies IoT technologies so that all the people interested in air quality can provide real-time air quality information, whether on their own balconies, on their schools, and in the office. An exceptional advantage of Taiwan is the full support instead of rejection from the government. So as part of the forward-looking infrastructure plan, we launched a civil IoT program with a 4-year budget of about 150 million US dollars. And so in the program, an enormous amount of environmental data on air products, meteorology, water resources, earthquakes, disaster relief, and so on are integrated into a high-speed computing environment so that we can collaboratively discover the correlations between social activities and environmental phenomena. And by aggregating these into a national supercomputing center, people also deploy distributed ledgers or blockchains to make sure that nobody can modify each other's numbers. And with these, establishing effective dialogue about public policies become much easier. Because we commit to disclose all the factors related to the air quality to the whole society, we're very proud that the AirBox-related products and applications has been introduced all over the world. And so to speak, by uniting the strengths of both the government and the public, Taiwan proved to be capable of not only solving our own problems, but also providing such solutions to other countries in similar situations. For example, a team from our annual presidential hackathon, they call themselves the Water Saviors. They save water, you see, using machine learning to detect water leakage. And the team visited New Zealand for 3 months afterwards, co-creating solutions to help solving the problem of water leakage in New Zealand. And through this way, Taiwan contributes our experience to the planetary civil society, focusing not just on 1 or 2 sustainable development goals, but on partnership for all the 17 goals. To be more precise, we focus on the target 1718, making sure everybody can trust each other in terms of reliable data. We focus on the target 1717 to establish trust across sectors and across countries. And we focus on the target 176, earning this trust through social innovation that involves and for the benefit of everybody. In conclusion, I would like to share a prayer with you about digital social innovation. When we see the Internet of Things, let's make it an Internet of Beings. When we see virtual reality, let's make it a shared reality. When we see machine learning, let's make it collaborative learning. When we see user experience, let's make it about human experience. And whenever we hear that the singularity is near, let us always remember the plurality is here. Thank you. Now let's take some questions.